Okay, so we've already looked at the perpendicular bisector. There are two more lines we're going to be looking at, medians and altitudes. Altitudes are in the next video you will be watching. The median is a line segment from a vertex to a midpoint on the opposite side. So if we look at this triangle, our median starts at a vertex and it connects to the midpoint on the opposite side. So when you hear the word median, you should think of M is for midpoint. Okay, so all we're going to be needing here is a vertex and a midpoint. And once you have 2 points, there's no problem. You can find the equation of that line. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is plot our points. Okay, so we have a point at 4, 0, and that's J, at -5, 2, and that's O, and at 1, 4, and that is B. Okay, and that's our triangle. Okay, and we're going to find the median from J to OB. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to connect my dots to create my triangle. Oops. From B to J, and from J to O. Okay, and we know that our median is starting for J. So we know that point is automatically on our line. Okay, so median should make you think of midpoint. So the first thing we're going to do is find the midpoint of OB. So -5 plus 1 divided by 2, 2 plus 4 divided by 2, and if we simplify that, we end up with 4 over 2, which is 2, and 6 over 2, which is 3. Sorry, -2 and 3, and I'm going to plot that point. And now, my median goes from J to that midpoint. There's the median. 2 points, I can find my equation now. So, determine the equation of this median. We have 4, 0, and we have our midpoint at -2, 3. Now when we had 2 points and we had to find that equation, the first thing we started with was finding the slope between those 2 points. So change in y, 3 minus 0, over change in x, -2 minus 4. And I'm going to simplify that. 3 over -6, which is -1/2. So I know my equation of the median has a slope of -1/2, and I can use either point. I'm going to use 4, 0. So y equals -1/2 x plus b. I'm going to plug 4, 0 into my equation. So 0 for y, and 4 over 1 for x plus b. Now we just simplify. So here we're going to have -4 over 2. Don't keep it as that fraction because that simplifies to -2. And when I bring -2 over, I'm going to get a y-intercept of +2. So my equation is -1/2 x plus 2. Okay, and if I look at my little rough sketch, the y-intercept does look like it is around 2. It's just my points were a little off, and my slope is negative, and everything looks good. Now, if I were to draw all 3 medians from each of the 3 vertices, the 3 medians would all intersect at one point, and that point is called the centroid. Okay, and what's special about the centroid is that every vertex is equidistant to the centroid. I'm going to write that. So same distant. Equidistant to each vertex. So it's kind of that center. Okay? So the median actually requires less work than the other ones because your first step is just to find the midpoint, and now you have 2 points, find the equation of the line. Okay, I'm going to have you try this next one on your own. So we have the same triangle ABC as in the previous lesson, but now you're going to find the median from A. Okay, there are going to be fractions, but I just want you to follow the same steps that we did on the previous page. So pause the video right here, and then we'll take it up after. Okay, so So our first step is to find that midpoint. So because my median is starting at A, the opposite side is going to be BC. So I'm going to do -2 plus 0 and -2 plus -4. And when I simplify that, I have -2 over 2, which is -1, -6 over 2, which is -3. And then that is my midpoint, and I know I'm also going to have to use point A. So now I can jump straight to my equation. I'm done. Just find the slope, find the y-intercept. Okay. So my slope, change in y, so -3 minus 8 over change in x, -1 minus 6, and I get -11 over -7, which I can just simplify to 11 over 7. And now I can plug either point in. So I'm going to go right here. Y equals 11 over 7x plus b. I'm going to plug the point -1, -3 in. You could have plugged the other one in. That's totally fine. Equals 11 over 7 times -1. I think this one's just easier because I don't have to modify my fraction too much. Just make it negative. So -11 over 7. And now again, we're going to have to deal with that common denominator. Right now, -3 is over 1. I'm going to have to multiply it by 7 for when I bring that fraction over. So I have -21 over 7 plus 11 over 7 is going to give us our b value, which is just going to be -10 over 7. Okay, now we can put it all together. Y equals 11 over 7x minus 10 over 7. And there it is. Now, what you should be thinking for median is midpoint. That's all. Midpoint and vertex. Okay, so just like with the right bisector, it's all in the name. If you can just connect the name to what you need to find, you are great.